Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It's I, Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my wonderful chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez. Greetings, DJ.
Greetings.
What's up, man?
How's it? Not much. Just pretending to be able to listen to music that I can't hear. It's going.
Oh, you have to give away everything.
No, it's good. If my movements seemed very robotic and generically bobbing up and down, that's why.
That way, everybody can go. That's not the beat. What was that? I need to rig this up better so that you can actually hear the music, because I've been playing some kind of interesting things leading in lately, especially, and we could get a good 5 minutes out of what was that, but we never get to have that conversation.
Yeah, I'd like to have that conversation someday.
Today's play-in, and I'm sure I'll get copyright flagged for this, but I just felt like playing it. This is a thing I discovered recently, is a song by Jean-Jacques Perret from 1970. From an album called Moog Indigo, and it's really early synth music. It's quite good, and a thing that, I mean, the whole album, there's some stuff on the album that I think is a little odd, because it's really experimental, and it's like, ooh, we have all these sounds we can play with now, and so some of those tracks sound a little bit more immature than some of the other tracks. Some of them are just like, I just bought a Casio keyboard. Look at all these crazy things I can do with it. But the last track on it is fantastic, and it's worth looking at. It's a thing I found thanks to the Super Marcato Brothers podcast. I've interviewed one of those guys on the show a couple years ago, and it's one of my favorite podcasts. It's a video game music podcast, and that episode, it's the one that they just put out this last week. Quick plug for those guys. Is all about music that they think video game music lovers might like that are not video game music, but might as well be. A lot of them sound like they should be in a video game. That one included. So anyway, check those guys out. They're wonderful, and they have 450 episodes at this point. They have posted every week for like 8 years or more, and that is definitely worth checking out, and totally fun rabbit hole to go back and look at. Anyway, welcome everybody to the Captain Logan Show. Tonight we are going to do an Ask Me Anything show, and we're going to lead in with tonight's topic here in a minute, or tonight's lead-in topic, I should say. We won't spend the whole hour on this, of course, or the whole show on that. I should never say that. We've been doing a lot of 2-hour shows lately. We'll just see what happens, as we always do. But tonight we're going to talk about the new Falcon Winter Soldier trailer, just because that just dropped recently, and I'm kind of excited about it. And just wanted to gush for a second about how stoked I am for that, and I think the hype is really real on that, and I'm more excited about the future of Marvel, of the MCU, than I have been in a long time, with the way, and it sucks we can't talk spoilers on this right now, but with the way that WandaVision has been going, blew my mind with the last episode. I got to be excited in a way, I should say surprised in a way, that as a guy that analyzes this stuff for a living and is constantly swimming in superhero stuff, I never get to be surprised like that. And it just blew my mind and hit me in a place, and I got to be a super fan again for a second, and I never get that feeling, but like a lot of things either end up reading too gimmicky and obvious, and like, okay, I'm supposed to be like, yay, but like, duh, of course you did that, or it's a thing that I found out about months before it happened, and this was neither of those. It was really exciting. Anybody that's seen that episode knows what I'm talking about. I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to talk any more about that. Hopefully it's not too much to say. There's a really cool thing that happens at the end of that 5th episode of WandaVision. We'll be doing a review of that whole show when it's finished. DJ, I'm starting to wish that we had done week to week on that, because I think there's enough material in each episode we could have. I think we could have.
Yeah, absolutely. That was, yeah. I don't know how they kept that a secret. That was nuts.
Apparently they didn't, because Austin knew about it, but they kept it a secret from most people. Somehow didn't find out about it. There was a leak about it. And Austin, like 3 weeks ago, was like, I could tell you, but I don't think you're going to want to know. And I'm like, okay, don't tell me. And then when I found out what it was, I was like, thank God he didn't say anything.
Why does he look at that stuff, man? Beware.
Let's just call Austin out.
No, he likes it. I've had this conversation
habits.
with him. He says he likes the speculation, so he digs for it. So it's whatever. It's his preference. Just different.
Yeah, I don't know. That would have ruined my fun on this one because, like I said, I never get to be surprised by that. It was so exciting. So I don't know if there's enough time in my week, but if Falcon Winter Soldier looks anything like as good as WandaVision after that first episode, I may consider going week to week on that. I don't, like I said, I don't know if I can find time to do it, but I'm kicking myself on this one that we didn't do that. So anyway, we're gonna do that. Quick plug for Thursday. We're going to have the 150th episode of the Captain Logan Show. We got here a little bit faster because we've been doing a lot of 2 Captain Logan shows in a week, dating back to what, DJ, the last 5 or 6 months we've been doing that?
At least, probably. Yeah.
Maybe
That's
longer.
crazy.
We do 2 live shows a week. Sometimes it's the Captain Logan Show. Sometimes it's a commentary. So we would have gotten here even faster if we were doing 8 shows a month. But we've been doing 6. And it's been going really well. And I want to thank everybody who's been popping in with us and chatting with us live and participating and keeping this thing going. Because we would not be, of course, broadcasting as often if there wasn't interest in it and if we couldn't keep it lively and interesting. And I feel like that has worked out pretty well. I feel like we've done a good job of that. And you guys deserve at least 50 to 60% of the credit for that. So thanks a bunch. Anyway, the 150th episode on Thursday night is going to be a charity show. We're going to be raising money for a really cool charity out of Chicago, Comics for Kids. They give comics to children in hospitals and to soldiers overseas to try to help kids who don't have a lot of money and soldiers who don't have a lot of entertainment, to keep entertained and keep literate and to keep the faculties going. And so I think that's a really worthy cause. It has obviously everything to do with what we do here. It's an idea that I had years ago that I always wanted to start and did not realize there was a thing like this already, so I want to support it. So 100% of Super Chat proceeds on Thursday night will go to that charity. We're not going to be keeping a dime that evening. It's going to all go there. So please come in and help us out and support that charity. DJ, I am thinking rapid fire show that night.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I'll warm up my fingers. Good grief, those ones are brutal, but yeah, they're a lot of fun.
You're gonna need at least 24 hours to work your fingers
Yeah,
for that show.
I'll get me one of those scrunchy things.
So yeah, tentatively rapid fire. That's what I'm thinking right now, assuming that my voice holds out. It's in a lot better shape than it was last week. I've been trying to rest it because it's still not at quite 100%. Although I recorded a 42-minute rewind the other day and faked it really well. I don't think you can tell.
Oh, wow.
That it's messed up at all there. So I should also probably go ahead and plug that as well. Friday night is going to be the premiere for the first part of the BVS Superhero Rewind. Originally, I was not expecting it to be as long as it is turning into, but it's becoming a monster. It's going to be, I thought it would be the biggest thing I ever did, but I also thought I would post it as one video. That is not going to happen. The introduction to that video is going to post on Friday. I say introduction, it is very much an overview analysis of that movie. It could function as a review all by itself, so don't feel like you're wasting your time with that. I certainly don't think that you will be. It is 42 minutes long, and then the next 2 weeks after that will be a chronological breakdown of Batman v Superman, going scene to scene and point by point. It will function. It may end up, as long as it's going to be, it may function as a commentary. I'm not writing it that way. I'm not intending it to be that way, but I'm wondering if it'll line up at the end. And so that's part of why I'm posting that first part before we get to the chronological breakdown or takedown of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. So if you... Let me say, if you love that movie, you may not be entertained by what I have to say about it, but I am certainly calling it like I'm seeing it and talking about all the positive things I'm finding as well. And DJ, honestly, talking about it scene by scene, I'm probably saying a lot more nice things than I would have otherwise. Yeah,
that's cool that you're doing that. It's like a one of those how it should have ended where they go scene by scene.
I've never done it before, and the thing I'm a little bit worried about is I'm kind of falling in love with the format. There's a part of me that's gonna have a really hard time going back. I don't think every movie warrants that kind of treatment. I think that it's a valid structure. So there's a lot of reviewers that go chronological like that. SF Debris is that way, and that makes a lot of sense when you're a comedy show, because a lot of that is, you're just saying this happens and look how dumb that is. And with what I do, it's not, it doesn't immediately make as much sense, but then as I'm doing it, I'm like, I don't know. This is fitting what I do pretty well. So anyway, I'm not planning on everything being that way, but I am kind of falling in love with that format. So there may be more of that down the line. I don't know yet. Some folks that have listened to the first part on Patreon and knew that I was doing the 3-part Behemoth have already said, hey, Cap, you should do that with Endgame. You should do it with Civil War. And here's all these other things you should do that with. But they haven't actually heard the chronological part yet. So I don't know if they're going to like it, but hopefully so. Anyway, so premiere of the first part of that on Friday. It is BVS month on Superhero Rewind, and then at the end of all of that, there may be another video in between, I'm not sure yet, but right before the Snyder Cut comes out, of course, we'll also have a Superhero Rewind on the theatrical cut of Justice League, and that will only be one video. Probably. Hopefully. But anyway, all right, let's go ahead and get into the lead-in topic for this evening. DJ, did you see the Falcon Winter Soldier trailer? You don't look at trailers.
I have not.
Well, it looks exciting.
I'm pumped for that anyway. I mean, the Captain America corner of the Marvel MCU has always been my favorite part anyway. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm glad people are loving it.
If you put that trailer out, and I'm sure there will be some people that will see that aren't even aware of what's happening with Disney Plus. If you put that trailer out and of course there was a teaser already, but like if that's all you saw and you didn't realize that it was a several episode miniseries or TV show, you would think that was an MCU movie. It is cut like a trailer for a film. The premise and the what little story points we know about already make it look like a direct sequel to Civil War, which is exactly what it should be. Everybody, I think most of us know this, so it's not going to be probably too much spoiler territory to mention it to DJ, but we've got Zemo coming back. In the trailer, Zemo makes a big deal, and we see him holding his mask. We have Zemo in the trailer talking about how he says, I think this is really great marketing, he says 2 big things. Superheroes should not be allowed to exist, and basically, nobody worry, I'm not done doing things, because, it's been a while, and then you've got, Falcon and Bucky kind of button heads a little bit, but it looks playful and fun. I thought that could be like a little bit irritating and kind of tedious. It doesn't look like it's going to be that way. It seems like kind of a battle for the cowl sort of thing, where they both want the Captain America mantle, and they're a team, they're a duo, but at the same time they're also kind of in competition, in conflict a little bit. But anyway, it looks like a movie, and I swear, if you put out that trailer and then a few weeks later you put out that as a 2-hour movie, like whatever that series ends up being, it would do fine at the box office. For years I have said Falcon needs his own movie, and a lot of folks have been like, that wouldn't perform, and then I always say I give you Ant-Man. Like, that's always my answer to that. I'm like, okay, but like those have done okay, and like it doesn't have to be one of their more expensive movies. They could dial back the budget a little bit. They don't have to pay, a Robert Downey or something. You can make those movies a little bit cheaper. I always thought that Falcon was absolutely right for his own movie. Of course, a lot of people love Winter Soldier, and I like Winter Soldier too, but I wasn't as excited about the notion of that just because I love Falcon so much, and so. Obviously, best of both worlds. That's there for both sets of fans, and a lot of people, of course, love both of those characters. But I just think that this is like massive validation for me for years, saying give Anthony Mackie his own movie, and like Winter Soldier's gonna help, and you could make the argument that when this is extremely successful, that it does not validate what I said, because Winter Soldier is there, and maybe it wouldn't do as well if it was just Falcon. But I still feel pretty validated in saying that. I think it would make a ton of money if what I just saw the other day went to the big screen. But anyway, it is also a validation for anybody, any analysis, including myself, that has been saying these Disney Plus things, Star Wars and Marvel both, do not look like TV shows. They look like big budget films. It doesn't look dumbed down in any department at all. It looks really ambitious to me, and maybe they've shown us all the real, big action set pieces already. I kind of doubt that. DJ, it looks like we're going to get a cross between Winter Soldier and Civil War every week for a few weeks, and it's really, really exciting to me. It's all I've wanted, and so it's...
Yeah, that's awesome.
My expectations are very, very high right now. So like I guess it's possible that it's not going to be as like super fascinating and cool as it looks like it might be. Like I could be getting my hopes up on this. I don't think I am. So yeah, I'm stoked. Vitali says it cost $130 million, but see, that's for like a whole TV show. That's for like several episodes of the thing. It's much longer than a movie would be. Now, having said that, what the Disney Plus shows are making is basically what Zack Snyder does for DC, but like just putting them out as like half an hour to 45-minute episodes of television, because we have examples now of 3 to 4 or longer hour movies if the director had his druthers and got to put it out exactly the way he wanted to. Like we already have a guy in Zack Snyder who's been making things that are basically TV shows that he throws on the big screen, cut down to 2.5 hours, and then later gives you a 4-hour cut of. Or a 3-hour cutoff. So like that's like or hate the stuff Zack Snyder was doing with DC. He kind of proved that with that budget, although I guess he had maybe closer to like 200 or something, but like you can make that amount of material and cut it into a TV show, and still what I'm saying is you can take a movie budget and then make a miniseries out of it. Certainly. But anyway, those are my thoughts about that. Feel free to ask more things about the trailer. If there's anything that I didn't mention, we've got what's her face, Carter's daughter coming back, and that's cool. Like I guess I kind of expected that, but I'm glad that she's there. And I don't know. I'm not sure what else to say about it, but it looks really exciting and it looks really really cool. And that rivalry looks fun, and I was kind of worried it wouldn't. So. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get to the questions, DJ. You want to start us at pre-written and then jump over to Super Chats?
Sure thing. All right. Everyone's pumped about Zemo. Everyone's pumped about Bucky. People saying you need to read the Brewbreaker run.
I should probably do that before that show comes out. Yeah, that's a really good call.
I did know that Zemo was coming back because when I was looking up an image to make the thumbnail today, I saw
Sharon Carter.
The poster.
There you go.
Saw the poster with Zemo's head, so I already had that spoiled for me. So you didn't do anything.
Yes, Matali, Cap and Bucky do a staring contest, and it's hilarious. at the end of that trailer, that woman in that room.
Oh, that's why people were asking you and me to do a staring contest.
That must be why. Yeah, her reaction at the end of that is priceless. It's so good. She goes, DJ. She goes. Somebody just blink. Sweet Jesus. She goes, how old are you, sweet Jesus? It's great.
So I don't see any pre-writtens about the topic, so I'm just going to jump into some.
Okay, sure.
Some ones. We got one from Blue Dragon 5. This is the first one, so I'm going to read it. If you were to pitch a Super Bowl commercial featuring an MCU character like the Ant-Man and Hulk mini Coke ad from years back, what would your pitch / product placement be?
Wow. That's put me on the spot. Here's the thing I've given no thought to whatsoever.
Well, speaking of,
I've never seen
Paramount Plus?
Say again.
Did you see the Paramount Plus ad? Did you?
Sweet Jesus.
Patrick.
Shiny shoes, mother of God. Oh, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Some of those ads were, I think, like, kind of. I don't know, mean-spirited's not the way to put it, but they just weren't they're just kind of classless. And then, yeah, they're milking Patrick Stewart for all he's worth, man. Like, they're using him as, like, the poster child they're using an 80-year-old Patrick Stewart as the poster child for this, like, hip streaming service, or this thing they're trying to act like is, this simultaneously, like hip and cool streaming service, but also here's all this nostalgia, and, like, just like their Star Trek stuff, that cannot decide what the branding is, like what it wants to be. Who is that for? I mean, is the idea that it's for everybody, and so they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you? I don't know. Yeah, it was embarrassing.
It was like they got everyone there. They got a TMNT 2003 Ninja Turtle walks up. It's really weird. I guess I'm assuming that was a Super Bowl ad. I don't know. I saw it like after the fact on Hulu, but I'm assuming
I'm really
that's
hoping that that service gets some of the other Turtle shows. Like, it's great that it's got O3. It's one of the only reasons that I've hung on to my CBS All Access subscription, because that's there already. When that drops, DJ, you and I should maybe do one of our famous comb through a streaming service and see what's their video.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We never did one with Apple or Peacock, so we got to get back on that. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get it for a little bit to watch TMNT with my son when that comes out, because that's impossible to get.
Well, and like I said, it's already there. You know that, right?
Yeah, but I'll probably wait till it changes over.
Well, that's fine. I'm just saying
one.
it's the same price if you keep commercials. Like, it's exactly the same. They're just adding things.
Okay, cool. I don't know. I think that CBS All Access is just such an unappealing title to me. I kind of don't want to be a part of it.
Sure, but you are going to be a part of it because it's exactly that, but they're adding some things. Like, that's what it is.
You got to put plus to sell DJ. Once you put plus on there, then he's sold.
Well, that's dumb because we need to stop using that on everything.
Yeah, we really do. That doesn't make it a good streaming service just because you put plus on it. But anyway,
God, those were like classless and least common denominator. Oof.
Cinematographic. Cap and DJ, assuming
we didn't
Zemo's
actually answer the question though.
Oh yeah.
I just talked about your question.
If you have a product. A product.
I mean, not right off. I'm just saying we probably should make the attempt. I don't know.
I have seen the Hulk one. It's weird. It's like they use footage of Hulk from movies a little bit, and they make it. There's new footage though too. It's basically Hulk chasing Ant-Man around for a little bit. It's kind of fun. Spider-Man does them too. Sony does some with Spider-Man a lot, with cars.
I would do. Of course, that makes sense. Sure.
Because he drives a car in Homecoming for no reason when he should be web swinging.
Yeah, I've never understood Spider-Man in a car though. Okay, so I would make it a commercial for a cleaning product, like a Comet or an Ajax or something, and it would be like Thanos coming onto the screen and like snapping his fingers, and then like all the grime disappears.
I thought you were gonna pitch a helicopter. With
Although I guess the problem with the Thanos snap thing is that immediately the meme would be, "Oh, good, Comet gets rid of half your grime."
That would be great. That'd be great if they actually,
mind.
Yeah, find a product that actually gets rid of like 50% of all germs, and then use Thanos for that.
I am surprised we didn't have Fat Thor selling PS like PlayStation though.
Ugh.
I'm surprised we didn't do that.
Ugh.
Not saying I want that, but Jedi Knight, who actually wants Paramount Plus? Well, there's a good question. I don't know that it's going to be that many more people than wanted CBS All Access. They have, I think, made a mistake in not already telling us more of what's getting added to it, because what they're primarily selling in those ads at the Super Bowl are things that are there already. I can't remember what. Clearly, I'm not the most invested in this. There were a couple things that I heard about the other day. I'm trying to remember what that are new and coming to that aren't currently on CBS All Access. But I went looking for a list, DJ, and they haven't put one out yet. I kind of thought that once they started selling that real hard, they would do what Disney did and tell us what was going to be there. I think HBO Max did it too, and we don't know yet. Now it's still another month, I think, or is it? No, it's like March 8 or something, isn't it?
Oh wow, I didn't even realize it was that close.
Is it that soon? I think it's early March. I gotta look it up. But anyway, it's like a month away, and or not much more than that, and they haven't told us much more of what's there, and they're selling it on stuff they have already. So it seems like I'm worried they're not actually going to put that much more on there. Hopefully I'm wrong about that, but it seems like their whole strategy is nobody knows what CBS All Access means. And if we're smarter than HBO, this is really how it looks. If we're smarter than HBO and we do exactly what Disney did, and we use the branding of our movie studio, then people will be more likely to subscribe to it. But like, people don't know what Paramount means either. Paramount isn't Disney, and Paramount doesn't have the reputation that Sony does. But if you know the stuff they've put out in the last decade, they don't have a great track record either. Like, Paramount's put out mostly not good movies for at least the last 10 years. And so like, I don't know that that's going to get them a lot of new subscribers, but I really think that they're thinking we could use the library we have already, and we'll get a bunch more subscribers just by saying Paramount Plus and doing a bunch of advertising. I don't know that that's the way it's going to go. I am happy that they're not increasing the price for it with commercials. I don't think these things should have commercials. I don't love that, but whatever. At least they're going to have a version now, and I forget how much it is, but like Hulu, where you don't have to have commercials if you want to pay more. I am glad that they're adding that, and I'm glad that they're not upping my cost. But that's the nice thing I can say about it, because all their original programming that I've seen is really bad, save some documentaries and stuff.
Yeah,
I watched a documentary on this.
It is March 4th. You're right. I do like the trend of
March 4th. That's even earlier than I said. Yeah.
I do like the trend that they're steering into the mountain. Like every streaming service is like exactly what their logo is. Like Peacock is called Peacock. I think Disney should change theirs to Castle.
They should change Paramount to Mountain. Because they got Patrick Stewart making a big deal out of the mountain. He's like, you're standing on the precipice, or whatever it is he said.
Oh, man. All right, we should probably answer some questions. Thomas?
I'll just pretend like somebody asked a question about that, because we should be talking about that.
Yeah, I had to bring that up once I saw
Stephen Murphy,
Patrick
Paramount
Stewart.
are still sad they lost Marvel. Yeah, they are. They've bought Transformers, G.I. Joe, TMNT, and I'm guessing they'll be Power Rangers. And it's funny because I made the mistake years ago on a video saying that the 2017 Power Rangers movie was Paramount, because I forgot it was Lionsgate. I mean, it looks like a Paramount thing. And yeah, I'm sure that Hasbro is going to stick around with the studio that they've been working with for a long time, and that has been proven for them in China, at least, with Transformers.
All right, Snuffles writes.
Yeah, sorry, one more real quick. Jedi Knight, Paramount is really betting on Star Trek here? Yeah, which is ridiculous. It's a mistake. They are still doubling down on new Trek, pretending like it's been way more popular than it actually has been. It's a big, huge mistake, and I'm convinced the only reason Discovery got to a season 4 is because they want to do this Paramount Plus thing. They're still doing the same thing they did from the beginning. They're making a terrible Star Trek show, and now terrible Star Trek shows, in order to sell a streaming service that nobody cares about. They're still doing it with a new one, with the same shows. It's a mistake. They have got to be hemorrhaging money like crazy. I could be wrong. We don't see numbers. But whoever the droves and droves of like new Trek fans are that are keeping that afloat, and if you were to believe them, have this like wildly TNG or at least DS9 level success. DS9 wasn't a big show, but I don't think it can be doing even that good. I don't know where they are. Like I hear from some fans that really like those shows, but it's very few and far between. Like, and it seems like diehard Star Trek fans that, forgive me, some of them, it seems like they just like anything with Star Trek in the title. It doesn't matter what it is. That's a blanket statement. I don't mean to put everybody in that box, but like most of the people I've talked to, it really sounds like people trying to justify it as, well, I really want Star Trek to be good, so I'm trying to find a way to like finagle it so that it fits with everything. And like here's my read on it that makes it better than it really is. Again, I don't mean to put everybody in that box. There are people who I think more earnestly like those shows for whatever reason. I don't even know if those people are Star Trek fans, really. Like, I think there were probably some people watching those that, weren't really Star Trek fans before, that CBS All Access really did win over, but it's like 20 people. There's no way that that's as popular as they pretend like it is. And we've had leaked numbers before in the past that make it really clear that was the case. I don't see how it could have suddenly jumped really. And we know that Picard, that the interest in Picard dropped real hard after that first week. Anyway, let's move on.
All right. Snuffles writes, come on, Bucky wins the staring contest. Falcon couldn't possibly sit still long enough, and Bucky deserves a win for once.
I mean, yeah, like Snuffles, you and I could argue all day about which of those characters is the best, just because, and we could be all superficial about it, just because Snuffles is a huge, giant, like massive Winter Soldier fan. She's got
She
like
was
a
the one
Winter
that mentioned
Soldier
Brubaker's
collection.
one.
She has like a mantle of Winter Soldier stuff. It's really cool. She's met him in person, I think.
Like a shrine.
She's got a shrine of it, and I don't have that for Falcon. I had that for Katie lots of years ago when the Arrow shows were still decent, but I never had that with Falcon. But
Got kind of a Riddler, a Jim Carrey Riddler shrine going on back there.
Yeah,
from what I can see.
But I will say, oh yeah, because they can't see the camera you're looking at. But I will say that she's right about the staring contest. I do think Winter Soldier would win the staring contest.
Yeah, man, that's basically what he was doing for like 50 years, was just sitting in that chair being hypnotized and just staring straight.
He's had a lot of practice at that. And also, Falcon is used to stuff getting in his eyes and having to blink all the time. Probably.
Well, he's used to having his goggles on, so once he takes those goggles off, then he's not used to it.
That's true too. I guess he does wear goggles when he's flying. Things probably don't get in his eyes that much, but yeah. Okay, yours was better. Bucky wins the staring contest, and you win whatever this was.
This is a speculation contest. Thomas Ledbetter, $5 super chat. Thank you, man. How do you keep optimism about humanity / the world despite the current idealistically divided and cynical culture without being naive or dismissive?
John Ty, why'd you change your name?
John Ty has one right after this, by the way.
Is it just like that?
Yeah, a little bit.
The answer is I don't. No, I'm kidding. I try to look at the compassion and like moral center and logic, reasonable, reason of individuals over a groupthink society. That's how I do it. That's how I keep my optimism up. I'm constantly surprised by how different the world outside my door is to the internet. Like, you'll find like actual like caring human beings all the time that really do give people more of the benefit of the doubt and will have an actual conversation with you about how you think about things and won't just immediately dismiss you because you say a word that's like an evil, scary buzzword according to the propaganda that they take in every day. Or what have you. Those people are out there. They do still exist. Sometimes it feels like it's few and far between. I also have run into like kind of close-minded people in my everyday life who I don't think were close-minded, even 7 or 8 years ago, and that makes me sad. That can be kind of scary. I say all the time that social media has done us probably more injustices than, or more disservices, I should say, than it has helped us. It's, there's pros and cons to everything, but if we're seeing a big downfall of the society and a collective mental condition, it's being created by social media, so that's unfortunate. So I think one of the ways to continue to be optimistic without, as you said, being naive or without being in denial is to pick a day in your week or a few hours at a time and unplug, stay away from that stuff. Talk to people. Remember that we did things analog and in front of people in the same room for at least a couple thousand years, and that kept us more sane than what is happening now, and we probably should be like actively engaging in more face-to-face contact, which is difficult in the middle of a pandemic, but at least do it with your own family. If you live with other people, like consciously spend more time with them and get out of screens. Like this is kind of a cliche thing to do, the whole like game night thing or whatever, but like have conversations, just like sit down. If you got to watch a movie, watch it with people, but like I still say, get out of screens and spend some time actually interacting with people. I think that helps a great deal. It helps to put things into perspective a lot. What do you have to add to that, DJ?
No, that's just been the hardest part for me. Like, I haven't gone back to work since March. Haven't seen anyone from work since March, and I don't think I ever am again. I think I'm just going to be working home forever, from what I've heard. Oh, and wow. My wife's working from home completely, so I don't see anyone. Like, if I didn't have a family, if I didn't have kids, if I didn't have my wife, if I didn't have, honestly, the Discord and you guys to talk to, I don't know how I would have got through this year, because I don't see any people except for like when I drop my kid off at school, pick him up. I
Well,
see a person for a second.
and of course, not all things are equal. So when I say get out of screens and get off the internet, there are exceptions where like that may be your only lifeline if you're, because again, we're living in a weird world right now. Like the circumstances are different at the moment, and the moment has been a year long now. But so you may need some social interaction utilizing the tools that we have because you can't leave your house. I think what you and I are doing right now, like maybe forgetting the chat. I don't mean to forget you guys. You guys are wonderful. But what I mean is there's a difference between talking to random faceless like text, like people in text, some of which might be bots on the internet, versus you and I getting on a Skype call and having a conversation. It would be nicer if we could do it in person, maybe, but this is like talking on the telephone. The telephone did not do to us what social media is doing to us. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference between Twitter and Facebook, and a person that you know and trust and respect, who is a good friend of yours. You're using the technology in order to stay close to that person and to stay sane and to have, most importantly, a little bit of intellectual stimulation in a conversation. Challenge each other. Don't be afraid of new ideas, and do all of that with people. And if you need the internet to do that, absolutely. But again, that's different than talking to faceless people, just like screaming your point of view without listening to that other person's point of view into a vacuum, because you're both in different echo chambers and looking at entirely different sources of news, and you live in almost literally different dimensions. That's very different. And one of the things that you can do to help yourself not live in a different dimension is to listen to people who are in a different echo chamber than yours and see if anything that they're saying actually pans out and is valid, and go in and do some fact checking and go, oh, here's some stuff, some research I've never done, because the very small window of things that I am given by algorithms on the internet would not have delivered that to me. I wouldn't have found out about it in any other way. These are all important.
That's great. Yeah, that's super important. Well, let's get out of the frying pan and into the fire.
No, Noah, you've not been forgotten. And Noah, I know.
Yeah, Noah, we know.
Noah's not faceless. I've seen Noah's face.
Noah just posted a horrifying meme in the Discord where Brandon was in my chair right here. He had photoshopped him into there and said Brandon After Dark. Brandon Grimm After Dark, and it was just all three Brandons, and we were gone. It was very horrifying.
I think that show would get better ratings.
If we had three Brandons instead of one.
I think more people would watch that show. Or if it was just Brandon's show. If Brandon's name is in that title, even if I'm there, if Brandon's name's in the title, I think more people... We probably have a bigger patron base if that happens.
You should let him do it one time that I can't make it. You should just go to bed and let him do it.
Get up the next day and that number has dropped exponentially.
All your subscribers are gone.
Brandon, I had 100 patrons and now I have 5. What happened yesterday?
All right, John Ty, do you think...
Oh, by the way, we're going to do something insane on After Dark on Thursday. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but it's a thing Brandon pitched, and he goes, I don't know if you're going to like this, and I said, I don't either, but we'll try it.
So it makes you uncomfortable? That's always good.
Yeah, he was like, I think this might be too uncomfortable, even for you, the way the show has been lately, and I was like, I mean, I'll have to look at it, but I think he's going to bring a thing for me to read. That's all I'm going to say, and I think we're gonna try it.
Interesting. Well, $2 a month. Join us, patreon.com/geekvolution, to enjoy that uncomfortableness.
You almost had a horrifying experience, didn't you? That's
what I should have went with. That'll really sell it. John Ty, do you think Marvel does pandering ideas in comics because of the increasing popularity of diverse fans for the MCU?
Wow. I don't know how much of that has to do with the MCU. I mean, I have complained for a long time that there's too much of an obsession in general with superhero movie franchises to the comics with with synergy, with trying to make everything feel the same. And so there could be some of that. I guess I don't know why I'm saying this. I hadn't had that thought with this particular topic. It has seemed to me that it's more both of those things going to that place for kind of similar reasons. And I don't even know if it's that they're talking to each other. And it's like, I will say that because of some of the, like, for lack of a better way to put it, I guess, but what people consider the SJW kind of pushes that the Marvel Comics have done over the last several years, there is now some material that they have created that we know that may have come somewhat out of that. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I'm talking about the way it's been perceived. Much of that I've not read because it just didn't really feel like it was for me. I don't know, but we know that they're gonna start adapting like Riri Williams and stuff like that, and I don't know how much of that fits into the kind of political pandering idea that you're talking about, but if it does, then that is, for whatever reason they're doing it, Marvel looking at material that came from that idea and adapting it. I don't think the movies have yet quite had anything as egregious as some of the things that have turned me off in comics that I actually have seen. I think the diversity push in the movies is much more, it's a couple things. We have to look at the cynical machine of this. So if you're Kevin Feige, I don't know the man. I've never talked to the man. There could be some very sincere. There could be like a. Let me get my thoughts together. There could be a really sincere motivation behind that, where he simply thinks that we've had these like popular, mostly white male characters for mostly the last 10 years, and we haven't gone to enough of the rest of the well. We should do that just because they're there and we know that there is a fan base that will appreciate them. There's obviously nothing wrong with that. That's not cynical at all, if that's what he's thinking. But there could be a little bit of a flavor of the week thing going on there, like you're getting with a lot of other companies, where it's simply, we think that like right now, we think we have to do this because the big trend right now is diversity. But some people think that that's the most important thing, even over good storytelling. So that's what we're going to give people, and we're going to do it under the guise of being progressive and doing the right thing. But we're really just doing it because we think it will make us money. We also do it, and maybe even more so, because we're afraid of cancel culture, and we don't want our companies or us as individuals to get canceled. So we feel like we have to do more of that so that we're above board for people that might go on Twitter and start, talking bad about us. There might be some of that. Honestly, I think more of it so far with Marvel has just come from a place of we've adapted most of like the really big characters you've heard of, and we're kind of out of people, and now we're going to some of the newer characters, and naturally, because things change over time, a lot of the newer characters are more diverse, and there are more female characters that have, to various degrees of success, but been created in the last 10, 20 years or whatever. So naturally, of course, some of those are coming up now. So some of it with Marvel might be pandery. I think when you look at CW, I think most of that is that way. When you look at Marvel so far, I'm not seeing a ton of it yet. I think more of it is just coming from we're losing some of our big names, and we're replacing them with some newer characters. And I think some of it is just natural evolution. This is going to happen eventually when we live in a world that just is more diverse and is more inclusive, and allows and the majority of people allow for more kinds of different sorts of characters, and just aren't concerned as much as they once were, maybe, about skin color and gender and stuff. So, we can argue about whether or not it's happening fast enough, but I think that you don't have to force it. I think eventually this is just going to happen. My generation is a lot more colorblind than the generation before it, and the generation after mine is even more colorblind than that. This is just going to happen as time goes on. That was long, but this is a thing I've not talked a lot about, and since it came up, I thought I'd do a little bit of a deep dive. So there you go.
Cool. Ryan Foster, $10 to give this recommendation. Cap, You really need to watch Lindelof's The Leftovers on HBO. You truly have no idea how far up your alley it is.
Oh,
It
wow.
deals with the
Cool.
themes. It deals with the themes of the importance of family, relationships, truth, and belief.
Yeah, and I got some of that from the couple episodes I watched of it. Somebody recommended it or requested it, I guess, a couple years ago for a You Made Me Watch, and I keep forgetting about it. So thanks for reminding me. But, you know, it's on HBO Max, so, I mean, I can watch it. But, yeah, I just need to sit down and make myself, like, a master list of all of the crap that I've said for 5 years. I will finally sit down and watch, and then watch, like, 2 of them. And then move on to all the other things I have to do. With this rewind push I've been doing lately, it's difficult to find time to watch a whole lot of stuff. And I'm wanting to try to get back to Smallville soon with a project there. So I don't know how much time I'm going to have to watch other things like that and actually be able to concentrate on them the way I want to be able to talk about them. Because there's a difference between, because sometimes people will be like, well, GCap, like, I know you've got kids and you're doing a lot of videos and stuff, but do you really have that little time to watch TV? I have that little time to, like, focus my attention 100% on TV. Right, DJ? Like, there's a difference between watching a thing for review and just having a thing on in the background. And the last thing you guys want me to do is just put a thing on while I'm washing dishes and then sit down and try to make a video about it. Like,
Yeah, I barely have any time. If I'm watching something, I'm usually like editing, working on some thumbnails or some artwork for this channel, or like I'm always doing something else. Like I can never just devote 100% to something.
Senior Nerd, timer on. How long will it take for Cap to finish answering this question?
Oh.
Well,
called him out.
I'm assuming that you're talking about the previous question. Sometimes they're meatier than others, and I feel like I would be doing a disservice to the question if I spent 2 minutes on it and moved on. But that was a topic that I haven't dealt a lot with yet, and I can probably talk a little more clipped when it comes up again. Ren Davis, how are Artemis and Apollo? Those are my dogs. My dogs are great. They're doing really well. Artemis found this really unbelievably comfortable blanket in the house today that she's not left all day. She's been on the same blanket for like 6 hours, 8 hours.
That's amazing. My cat has been super weird. She only sits in front of the fire lately. She'll just sit right in front of the fire with her eyes closed, just like, that feels good.
Cats like warmth and they like light. And, yeah. And Oracle's good too. I've got a cool cat. But yeah, my dogs are, for anybody that's like dog people that care about this kind of thing, they are Chihuahua mixes. And I've got a black one and a brown one, and the brown one, the girl Artemis, is the most neurotic dog ever. She's calmed down a lot in the last couple of years, but man, there are still days where she just goes nuts over nothing.
Been there. My dog is insane, and he's 9, and he's never going to calm down.
But that's not what I'm talking about. Does not hold a candle to DJ's dog.
No. All right, this is from Azim, and it's like 4 parts. He's given a lot.
Tell I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, he said that he had a pet die. He had a cat die.
Yeah, it's the worst.
He also earlier asked, I think facetiously, when Geekvolution would get more diverse. He said, I think you'll get more viewership if you get more diverse. I've been joking a lot lately about how I only know white guys. But yeah, I mean, we've gotten, I don't know, a little bit more here and there. I think that it's kind of, and I know that was probably a joke question, Mutale, but I'll mention this real quick. Obviously, I bring on anybody that I meet that I think is good for the channel and has a good dynamic and rapport with me, and I don't care what they look like and what their gender is or whatever. So we've not had a lot of women on because we don't have a lot of women viewers in the first place. Like a lot of the new folks that come onto the channel, people that I bring in as co-hosts are people that I find who were viewers first. That goes all the way back to Dan Torrey. And we've had, a girl here and there, but it doesn't happen that often. I think our percentage, our viewership percentage of women has always been like 10%, DJ. It's more like 25 or 30 on the podcast, curiously. I guess there's more women that listen to Superhero Rewind than watch anything that we do on the channel.
They just don't want to look at our faces. Our faces is what turns them away. But if they can just listen to your lovely voice, then they're hooked.
My lovely, lovely voice. And then as far as minorities and anybody else, it's just a matter of like the pool that we have to pull from of people that come on that I meet that I hit it off with, and so occasionally you'll get somebody that's that looks very different from me, but it has been few and far between so far. We've been talking lately about how the Austin is Canadian, so we've got that. And I've got guys like Kareem and folks that occasionally pop on and talk to us, and so it's not like I'm avoiding non-white, non-males on the channel. It's just it turns out that way quite a bit.
Yeah. This one is from Azim. Part 1. Loved your SM contrivances episode.
Oh, thanks. That was a lot of fun to write. That was an idea that it's a superhero movie is what he's talking about. The top 10 contrived moments in superhero movies. That was an idea that I came up with talking to Austin, and I kind of front loaded and started writing it on a week that I didn't have time to watch a movie and take notes, and then it turned into like a 50-minute video on its own. But I didn't have to do it. So I had to do a lot of writing, but I didn't have to do any prep work. But that was a lot of fun. I want to do some more list videos like that because I haven't done those in quite a while.
Yeah. Then Azim's part 2 is, I agree with much of it, but I feel that if a film's core elements are exceptional enough, said film can still be deemed great despite its flaws.
Well, sure. I'm not sure what he's talking about in the first place, of like what he's agreeing with. I guess just piggybacking off of or anything.
Yeah, I guess just like the video itself, like because there's contrivances. I guess he thinks that they can get away with those contrivances if they're good enough.
Sometimes, and obviously that's going to be somewhat subjective. That's going to be different person to person. Just what takes you out too much. Very often it turns into a question of suspension of disbelief, and that's going to be a little different from person to person. So when you say great, some of that's going to depend on what your focus is and what you care about versus another viewer, right? So it's hard for me to understand folks that care more about like how a movie is made than how well the story is told, because I think everything, all those elements are supposed to come together to tell a good story. So if the story isn't good, then it can have like the greatest production values ever, and I might be marveling at what it looks like. I have this to some degree with BVS even, but if the story's not there, then you're missing kind of 50% of it. That's still an F, but all those elements have to come together to create a world and a story, which is about characters. Story is character plus plot. You need both of those things. So for me, if you have brilliant characters and really fleshed out three-dimensional characters that we explore, and it's like a character study, and you have a really hackneyed plot to get to the character story, the character study, I should say, it is more likely that I'm going to love that movie than if it's like the other way around, where it's this really cool, intricately well-plotted thing, but the characters are one-dimensional and kind of archetypal, or they just don't make any sense. I don't understand the motivations, whatever. That can be a problem. But I know that there are people who only care about the theme of a story. So like, if you picked an idea and you explored it and you had to contrive a bunch of like events to happen in a really dumb way, but you explored that theme, people look at that like I do character study, where, well, I can look past most of or all of that because the ideas were there. I mostly still want a complete package, so I don't mean to sound hypocritical. Like, the character study thing still does not work great if you have a bunch of like really contrived things to get there, but we can argue about also what ends up watching like a conceit versus what watches like a bunch of just easy plot devices to get to a place where while you're pretending like you're telling a believable and intelligent narrative. And a lot of it is just about, as I always say, what a thing is trying to do and if it achieves that.
And then his part 3, which you basically just answered. He says, be they contrivances or anything else. To a degree, anyway. Superman 2 and Spider-Man 2 fall into this category for me. Am I wrong for thinking that? So you kind of explained.
Yeah, I'm not going to say you're wrong. At this point, I don't think I agree with you, but that doesn't make you wrong. This would be an area that is up to interpretation. Certainly before it's a factual thing. So if you took something in a movie that does not make sense and you can't give me the events and the facts in the film that back up your point that this makes sense, then you're just making up things and that's not true, right? Like simple fact versus opinion, right? This makes sense is a matter of fact. This still works for me as a matter of opinion. That's the distinction.
Cool. And then another one from Azim. He gave us, thanks for all the donations tonight, man. Unrelated, though. He says, I've yet to start watching WandaVision. Been anticipating it for a while, given its unique plot, tone, and look. And everyone seems over the moon about it.
Because it's great.
It is. It's awesome. You should check it out. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for it all to drop, I guess? Maybe so.
Which is fair, because it's a really, really bingeable piece. And I think even when it's all said and done, I'm likely to still wish that it had all dropped at once. Although, I'm thinking slightly differently about that after that last episode. Because I liked that I've had time to let that process, and that I've been forced to not move on past that, because that was such an exciting moment. I needed to live with that for a while. I don't know if you have that, but...
No, I really like, not specifically with that, but just I've loved sitting down every Friday night with my wife and just watching that show. I think it's a perfect show to do that week to week. And then we got Jan Hendrik Vandermerwe just donated $2 to us.
Well,
didn't leave a question.
Here's $2.
But thanks. We really appreciate that. Here's $2. Thanks for that. Dimwitted Monkey. Any good superhero Valentine's Day ideas? Here's $5 to another great show.
Here's $5 is bad, but not here's $5. He's not bad.
No, he's not here tonight.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day ideas.
I don't know. Nothing immediately jumps to mind.
Nothing in theaters. I mean, you could always watch any superhero movie.
Everything I'm thinking of is really creepy.
Okay, please do tell.
I'm coming up with stuff like just take a bunch of pictures of your girlfriend and do the thing that Joker does in '89, just cut them all out and then just have them all over the floor, so that when she comes over, you've got just this really messed up, scary floor of just her face everywhere.
Yes, that's what you should do.
That's a great idea.
Drop your girlfriend off of a bridge and then catch her at the very last minute, but it's still too late.
If you're really handy, you could do this is kind of sappy, but it's Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is all about cheese and sap. Those go together great.
Sappy cheese.
Sappy cheese. Cheesy sap.
Because sappy cheese.
Because sap, right. You could... We're always at the same wavelength there. We just wind up in the same place.
That's what it does to you, man. It's like a virus. You work for them, and it just starts... It reprograms your brain.
It's a very narrow virus. We can't even call it an epidemic at this point, because it only affects the people in my general vicinity that have ever worked for me. Anyway, so you could if you're really handy, you could make a bat signal that shines the name of your loved one with a bat symbol behind it, or you could do a candy heart sort of thing in a bat signal. That's the thing you could do.
Wow.
Aim it at the ceiling. I mean, you probably would want to try to aim it at conveniently passing clouds for two reasons. First of all, that doesn't usually work real well, and it would need to be really, really bright. You have to be very handy. But secondly, you probably are already hoping it doesn't rain on Valentine's Day. So, why would you want the passing clouds that day?
Yeah.
This is a stupid answer, but...
You got a Batman answer and a Superman answer. What more could you ask for?
No, you got two Batman answers, because the first thing I said was from Joker in '89.
That's true. Well, what do you expect? It's Cap.
What would would the Superman answer be? Magic kiss? So for Valentine's Day, I'm going to give you a lobotomy so that you don't remember all the horrible things that happened during 2020. That's what you get.
Yeah. So Jedi Knight says WandaVision could be good for Valentine's Day.
That's
I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of like when my wife and everyone's significant other took them to see Gone Girl, and it's horrifying. Have you seen Gone Girl?
No, I still haven't.
I won't spoil it for you, but it's the worst movie to take your husband or boyfriend on a date with, because it'll make him terrified of you for the rest of the month. Oh, here we go. Jan Hendrik Vandermeer came back. Apparently they messed up the first time, and they're back. $2 again, and they say,
thanks,
thoughts on the Joker in ZSJL.
So, yeah, I saw the images today, and I've been told that there's supposed to be, I don't know how true this is, I haven't looked into articles and stuff, it's just somebody sent me the pictures and said that, so it looks like Joker's sitting in a interrogation room, maybe, or a cell. Probably like an Arkham Asylum or something, I'm not sure. And it's Leto, and he has a totally different makeup job. He basically, it basically looks more like a Ledger getup, or just a more traditional Joker. I don't think it has all the tattoos, or if it does, I didn't notice them. Maybe it's real subtle about that, or maybe it's just like white makeup caked on top of them. I don't know. But he's in a chair, and he's looking real deranged and pissed off, and I think the idea, from what I've been told, is that that's supposed to be part of the nightmare future. So we're going to get more images of that. And that makes me wonder even more if the dark side images that we've seen so far for that movie are going to be 10 seconds of that film and all still take place in the future.
Yeah, there's going to be so much that's just like, they're hyping it up so much, but Joker is not going to be, a tiny part of that movie. It would be weird if he wasn't. Dark Moonlight Entertainment. Cap, have you heard the fan theory that Godzilla and Kong will stop fighting and team up because they both have a friend named Mothra?
That's great. I hope that happens.
Mothra.
But when
why did you say that
Godzilla
name?
says, "Why didn't you say that name?" You just hear, "Arrgh!"
Yeah, can Godzilla and Kong speak to each other? I don't think they can.
I don't think we'll even know what's happening. In fact, my hope is that we get a conversation between them without subtitles, where they're just screaming at each other, and then they both team up at the end. And the easy fan interpretation can be, especially if Mothra shows up, well, clearly, they both had a friend named Mothra.
You got a Mothra.
I still haven't seen that trailer. I keep forgetting to look at that. I still haven't watched that.
I haven't seen it either. Azim, $2 super chat. Loved Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer, despite the poor choice of music.
I agree. I wasn't real excited about that either. But it was, it's a great trailer. I guess I just tune out to that kind of thing these days. Like, movies are always sold on music that does not get me pumped up for a thing. And doesn't necessarily fit with the material. Like, I guess if that show is scored with a lot of rap and hip hop, then it will make sense that was there. But I may question that choice in the show. I don't know that that's going to make a whole lot of sense. I don't know if I should go to this place, but if they do that, I really hope it's not just because they have a black protagonist, because we know the kind of music Falcon's into, and it's not that stuff. Now, maybe he's got a real eclectic, like a variety of music he likes to listen to. Maybe that is in there, but in his first appearance, he recommends the Trouble Man soundtrack. He's into 70s, like funk and stuff, and like maybe like jazz and soul music and stuff. So I don't know. Sometimes it feels like we get real stereotypical when we throw people in a box just to try to sell things, and I think it can get really disingenuous, where it's like, oh, this is about a black person, so it better sound like all the rap that came out last year. That's not fair. Now, if that's what they're into, cool. But I don't think that's what he's into, so I hope that's not what that show sounds like, unless it ends up making sense for some reason in the show. Luke Cage, that made perfect sense, and that didn't seem disingenuous at all. That seemed like the kind of stuff that he probably listened to. But, and also a lot of that music was awesome. But, anyway.
Mr. Roboto, $2 super chat. Cap versus DJ staring contest. Who wins?
Yeah, exactly. He likes Marvin Gaye, Blue Dragon 5. That's right.
Yeah.
Ren Davis rap is more hype. Sounded great to me, but it could be cultural differences. Oh yeah, very likely. Sure. But I just need to, even if it's not for me, I just need it to make sense for the material. And then if it's not in that show, then it just means that they're doing what trailers are always doing, which is not telling you what the show is going to feel like, just trying to get you to watch it.
Yeah, I think it's just a trailer thing. Someone just said that Kong versus Godzilla did the same thing.
Yeah, a lot of things do that.
Yeah, so Cap versus DJ staring contest. Who wins? Mr. Roboto wants to know.
You, because I'll forfeit before we start.
You don't like staring contests?
I have no interest in doing that.
I've done it on shows sometimes where I'll just give like a really creepy stare into the camera for like
I've noticed that
30 seconds when Cap's not looking.
I'm not gonna participate in that. I do all kinds of other things. If we were in person, I'd do a thumb war. We could do rock paper scissors. I'm not doing a staring contest.
Can't look at my ugly mug for that long. He'll be disgusted with me and he'll fire me. Michael Martin. Whoa, that's weird. That's my cousin that I grew up with. Would you ever consider doing a superhero rewind on the MCU as a whole?
I have given that a lot of thought. Yeah, I would. I've thought about doing that.
And he says, and how do you think you tackle something like that? Good grief.
It would be in multiple parts. It would be breakdowns mostly of thematic through lines and character through lines throughout the thing. So we would take a microscope to, for instance, the heart motif throughout the whole thing. And you'd probably hear me say some things I've said before, but I would expound on it and get more in depth on it. And basically, I would ask the question: is this? Look at Iron Man 2 Endgame, because arguably that's more or less a story. Obviously lots of little stories inside of that as well, but you have a character that almost dies, becomes a superhero, goes through a quest to find his heart, to become a more compassionate person, learns the lesson of self-sacrifice, attempts self-sacrifice, gets lucky enough to not have to die there, really actually does it down the road. That's a story. That's an arc. He's done at the end. We killed that guy off. Not that every character arc ends with a person dying. I'm just saying that at least for Iron Man, that is a very clear beginning, middle, and end. Same thing with Captain America. I won't go through Captain America's character arc because I just did it with Iron Man. But we could, but I think it would make a lot of sense, even though the MCU continues on, to of course stop at Endgame and ask the question: is this a complete story? Do we buy the through lines? Does it get too retroactive? Does it retcon too often? Or is it just a bunch of stuff that happens that keeps kind of patchworking, pretending like it is one complete through line overview story? I do not know how long it would take to write that, and I don't know how I would prepare for it. I don't know if I would have to go back and watch all 1,500 films. What is it? 23, 25? I don't know if I would go back and rewatch everything, or if I would watch key ones and then just, because obviously I've seen all of these things at least a couple of times. Many of them I know very well. I don't mean to toot my own horn. I could sit down and write it now with no preparation. It would probably be fine. I would stop in places where I forgot something and I would go look up something. And if I did it without any prep work, I would probably make a few mistakes. My memory probably wouldn't fully serve me, but I could probably do it and get away with it, turn in that assignment and get like a C+, B-. But if I did this, I would probably want to revisit at least the key films. So I definitely have considered that. I don't know how much of a sabbatical I would have to take in order to tackle that. Can I continue to put out other rewinds and do other videos while I'm making that? The BVS thing has been nice because I've broken it up into parts. So if I was going to post that whole thing as I don't even want to say how long that's going to be, but because I don't know yet. But the however long that is, mammoth that is, all at once, you wouldn't have gotten a video from me for that show for 3 weeks. But I don't want you to have to sit down and listen to that long of a thing without breaking it up. Whenever I've gotten too far past an hour, I've always broken it up. So that's what I would do with that as well. And so I might be able to then get away with posting that for however 3-4 weeks, however long it went, and just make that a month-long project. But yeah, that's not me saying I'm doing that definitely, or that I'm going to do it soon. But I have thought about that quite a bit. Yep.
That's awesome.
I think it's a great idea.
Utale said you'd also have to follow Thor's arc from a god to a fat bro.
Yeah, but absolutely you would. Yeah, that would be a tragic arc, and not in the way that they think it is.
Tragic to watch. Hawk Flame.
And tragic to see that happen to him, man. Like,
yeah.
You know, and obviously there's a through with Hulk to look at, and the unevenness of that to some degree, and how that started as one character and sort of kind of turned into a different one maybe, and you know, all of that. There would be a lot to unpack, and I would have to focus on different things. I couldn't do it the way I do a normal rewind these days, where I'm talking about a lot of it. In a weird way, even though it would be huge and very overviewy, but it would also have to be very overviewy. I would have to go back to, in a way, the old days where I pick topics and run with them. But anyway.
Yeah. Hawk Flame, how do you see the current diverse social climate? How do you... Yeah. That's what I said. How do you see the current diverse social climate will influence blockbuster entertainment moving forward?
I mean, that's the $50 million question right now. Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to say, right? Because I don't know what blockbuster entertainment looks like down the road, just because of what's happened to movie theaters and stuff either. There's so much impacting all of that right now. But forgetting that for a minute, just all things being equal, just how does it, like, and even forgetting blockbusters, just how does that affect, like, mainstream entertainment? I think at some point we're going to find a happy middle with it. I really do. Or at least I hope so. Maybe this is wishful thinking. We have seen the most, like, obvious, pandery, like, throw diversity in your face kinds of material very often, most of the time, fall flat on its face. When it works is when we don't draw any attention to it. It's when we just cast people that are right for roles. We tell stories about any kind of person we want to tell stories about. We hire anybody that's good for stuff. Guess what? If you hire female directors, you're going to naturally have more female protagonists. If you hire more black writers and more black directors, you're going to naturally get more black characters and be talking about people with different worldviews and stories and different walks of life and stuff. Of course, this is all going to happen naturally if we deal with diversity more from the ground up. It should be a lot more about who we're hiring than it should be about forcing characters to look like different from what is considered the mainstream, or have like token stuff. Tokenism doesn't help the cause. That's not progressive. I think it kind of holds us back. In some ways, I feel like, and I'll get into trouble for saying this, but I don't care. This is how I feel about it. In some ways, I don't mean we had everything figured out. Of course we didn't. And I'm talking about in entertainment, right? There was still plenty of racism running rampant in the 90s, don't get me wrong. But as far as entertainment went, I feel like we had gotten a little bit farther than people give it credit for, and then we got obsessed with it, and we got to tokenism, and then we started backtracking a little bit, I think. Like, I just think that it's maybe as simple as don't count out people because of their race, gender, creed, sexual orientation, whatever it is, and let people take risks and tell every kind of story. And then you're going to have a massive diversity of different kinds of characters and walk of life and stuff. Of course you are. And when you have that kind of diversity, you can, and diversity of ideas and different ways of looking at things. And then what you have is a world where it's okay for things to look believable and realistic, where you can have a story about nothing but Chinese people because that's the story you're telling. It makes sense that you wouldn't have a token black guy in that story, right? And then it's okay to have a story that's about just a white family because They live in Podunk, Central America. They live in Podunk, not Central America.
All white people in a Central America story might be a little weird.
That might be a little weird. No, in Midwest, where there aren't any black people or Asians or anything around, right? You got to look at the idea of diversity in a much broader way and look more at the forest for the trees. And my hope, like I said, is that I don't know what's going to happen, Hawk Flame, but my hope is that we find a middle ground on that, and the diversity issue. We finally allow it to work itself out, because forcing it has not been making people all that much money. That's my hope. I think it's perfectly fair for people to want more diverse stories. I don't think the majority of people are actually... There are these people out there, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think the vast majority of people are not scrutinizing every movie and going, well, wait now, there hasn't been a woman on screen for 15 minutes. How dare you? That's wrong. I don't think the majority of people think that way. I certainly hope not, because that doesn't make any sense. Any more than if I saw a movie that was about a bunch of ladies, like, I don't know, running a restaurant or whatever they were doing, I wouldn't be, or no, let's go more absurd. Let's say you made a movie about the Amazons. Like, you did a movie that didn't have Wonder Woman in it. It was just about the Amazons. As a man, I'm not going to go, hey, it's been half an hour. There hasn't been a man on screen. Of course not. It's about the Amazons.
Shall we talk about Star Trek?
Hawk Flame says a great answer, but not really answering the question I asked. But like I said, I'm just not sure what I'm not sure what will happen. I'm telling you what I hope, because I don't know how it's going to affect the future. What's up?
Star Trek is up for Mr. Roboto.
Oh, no.
Very deep question here. Trek question: if you replicate a glass of water and the glass, does that mean you can consume the glass and not die?
Okay, read the question one more time. You replicate the water and the glass?
A glass of water, and obviously comes with a glass. Does that mean you can consume the glass and not die?
No.
A la Willy Wonka with his little teacup.
I think it could potentially be possible to program the replicator to do that, but generally what you would be getting is a replicator that's replicating two different things at the same time. Although it's interesting that you asked that, because we make the distinction in Star Trek. We're getting back to getting very geeky. That's great. We make the distinction a lot in...
Wait till the next one.
In TNG era Star Trek, between food replicators and like other kinds of replicators, like matter replicators that can give you like a weapon or a guitar or something. But the food replicator also has to be able to make non-organic material to give you things like plates and glasses and stuff. So clearly it's versatile enough to be able to do both of those things, which makes you wonder why we even have to make the distinction between replicators. I actually hadn't really had that thought until you just said that. But yeah, the glass is not made of water like the water is. It's still made of glass. The way a replicator works is it takes energy and it turns it into matter, and it approximates the material that it's transitioning from energy into matter. So it's approximating glass. It is essentially glass.
That seems ridiculous.
This gets a little bit different when you get into a holodeck potentially, but anyway.
Nice. All right, another one from Mr. Roboto. Thanks for all the donations tonight, Mr. Roboto. Cap,
I really appreciate it, man. What's up?
Are you a crypto freak?
No, I am not. Although sometimes I feel like I've been transformed into one because of too much Smallville and too much terrible superhero material. So I could easily have a crypto freak motivation, where I just want to go after people who make terrible, superhero things. But I'm not there, and I don't think I'll ever get there. And even if I did, I wouldn't be a crypto freak because I would not have powers. This is not. This is, by the way, not me threatening anyone. Of course, I'm joking. But anyway.
I'll add a question to that. Have you ever thought about making a parody of Super Freak called Crypto Freak?
No, I have never thought of that. I have thought about making a parody of the REM song "Don't Go Back to Rockwell" called "Don't Go Back to Smallville."
Meaning, don't go back to the show after 10 years because it's still horrible?
Or is it Rockville? Rockville? I think it's Rockville. But anyway, yeah.
All right. Well, we got one last super chat from Mr. John Ty himself. And he says, why...
He changed his name back.
Yeah, he's here. He's all right. And of course, here it goes. Why does diversity in entertainment seem to be more like pandering than before? I guess he means than it used to be in older days.
So I really didn't want to spend the entire show talking about this topic, so I'm going to answer this very briefly.
It's on people's minds.
This is not the most comfortable thing for me to talk about, and I have admittedly sometimes kind of beaten around the bush on it a little bit, where like I don't want to just like not directly answer a question. I want to speak my mind, but I know that this is a real touchy subject for people, and I don't want to accidentally come off disingenuous and like I'm not sympathizing with one side or the other. I get the nuances of this and why it's complex and why people are at kind of each other's throats about it sometimes. So I think it's really easy to talk about this and be misunderstood, and people don't know what you're actually saying. So I want to be kind of careful, but I also want to talk about it if people want to talk about it. So I'll answer this very briefly. So ask the question one more time.
Why does diversity in entertainment seem to be more pandering than before?
I think it's, and again, obviously not across the board, but it does seem like to my perceptions, and obviously yours, it does seem like it happens more often now than it used to. I think it's as simple as oversimplification and trying to capitalize on a trend. I think it's that simple. The most pandery stuff you see, I think, usually does not come from the most noble of intentions. I think it's much more often, this is what sells now, so we have to lay it on really thick, and I think that's all it is.
Well, cool. Shall we jump back to some pre-writtens real quick?
Yes, especially if they're not about that topic. Just because I've said my piece tonight on that.
Cinematographic. Cap and DJ. Assuming Zemo's part of the half that got AMF'd in Infinity War, why is Zemo still angry with superheroes?
Well, I guess we'll find out when we watch that show. I was not making the assumption either direction of whether or not he got blipped. Do we know that for sure?
You've seen more than me, man. I don't know.
Assumed, well, and maybe it's in the trailer and I missed it. I don't know. This happens all the time where I'll watch 2 minutes of a trailer. I'll watch the 2-minute trailer. Like,
he just said assuming that, so maybe he's just assuming that. I don't know if he has anything based on that.
But real quick, I wanted to say this because it's amusing. I'll watch a trailer 2 or 3 times and think I figured out everything that's in it, and then somebody will write like a 5,000-word dissertation of all the things that are in it that I completely missed. But anyway, I was kind of assuming that he must have gotten blipped because you'd think that he would have been working on all of this for the last 5 years. If he doesn't, it's going to be maybe a little bit of a harder sell. That I should have mentioned that earlier. That was a big question that I had. So if he didn't get blipped, I don't know why it's taken him this long to deal with it. But as far as why he's still upset with superheroes, I mean, they're still around. So are you saying that like he got what he wanted because they've got the law now? Because I don't know that that's really true. Like, yeah, there's legislation about it, but I can see why he still wouldn't be satisfied. But you know, having not seen the show yet, I'm not sure what angle they're going to have on his motivation at this point.
Let's lighten things up, shall we? Let's go to Mutale. Cap, who would you rather take care of your kids if anything happened to you and Sarah? Spawn or Deadpool?
I want to say it depends on the Deadpool, but versus any version of Spawn, I'm still probably saying Deadpool.
Back to the anything versus Spawn is always the other thing.
It's always the opposite thing, yeah. The reason is because you can... Well, it's 2 things. I don't... Even though Deadpool is a... even, you know, outside of the movies, the most, like... what's the word I'm looking for? Having a hard time thinking of this word I want. We've jumped around so much tonight. I gotta reset my brain here for a second. He is not the most like God. I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. Whatever. My brain is shut down. I've lost it now.
And that's the show tonight, guys. We'll see you Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, charity show on Thursday.
And
good night.
And then, yay, rapid fire at that point. But no, he does not have empathy, right? And you wouldn't want somebody without empathy to watch your kids necessarily. However, even though he's murdered a lot of people and he is a mercenary for hire and he does not understand what compassion is, I still think I would rather that guy watch my kids than someone who beat his wife into a miscarriage.
Ooh.
That's my answer. And that was a retcon
trying to lighten
thing,
things up with this question.
That's a retcon thing, which means you can retroactively make Spawn any more sadistic and horrifying that you want to as you move along. So, like, as horrifying as that guy is, he always has the potential to be even more horrifying by adding more crap into his background. Never by adding more stuff moving forward, always by going backwards.
Wait, he added that in before he was even Spawn? He did that?
Yeah.
Ugh. What's wrong with you, Todd?
Yeah. He made it retroactively seem like that was part of the... I think that was potentially a response to criticism from fans that Al Simmons didn't seem like a bad enough guy to get picked by Malbolgia. So he had to make him less sympathetic retroactively. And the idea was always that he and Wanda couldn't have children, and then we found out that it was because he couldn't, not that she couldn't. And then later it turned out that they retconned that, and she had a miscarriage. And then later we found out that the miscarriage was because he beat her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Retcons on retcons on retcons on retcons.
That is one of the most horrendous things I've ever seen in a comic. It was a full-page spread.
Ugh.
Seeing that happen in the flashback, yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Well, John Ty says Deadpool gives us a $5 super chat.
I will never fully recover, by the way.
I'm glad.
Not just that,
well,
but all of that.
He says Deadpool talked down someone that was going to kill themselves. So it's not all bad, says John Ty in a $5 super chat. Thanks, man. That's more reason.
I mean, he's done some nice things. Spawn has also done some nice things. I think in cases like that, you have to ignore all the good deeds and only look at the sadistic insanity.
Which is worst.
Because if somebody is capable of that, I don't care how many puppies they've saved. I really don't.
True that. Solar Dragon just says scumbag owl. That is all he wrote. And that's a great comment. I love that comment. Comment of the week.
They should have left him the devil. That's all I'm saying. I almost want to make that comment of the week just to have that sitting on the screen for a while. We are going to start that tonight, by the way. Thanks for reminding me. We're going to start doing comment of the week or comment of the show, I guess. And what I'll do...
Comment of the stream.
Of the stream, thank you. And I'll take your... trademark. And I'll take your comment if you win comment of the stream. DJ and I will just pick it sometime during the stream. If we pick one and somebody later has one we like better, you could get knocked out. And then... throughout the whole next show, you'll see your name and comment at the bottom of the screen. So we'll start doing that. And DJ, I'll just ask you to copy the comment and the person's name and send it to me later so that I can add that on there if you can. I don't know if I'm actually going with Scumbag Al right now, but I just think that would be a really amusing thing to just have at the bottom of the screen.
Solar Dragon.
That's a runner-up right now.
Scumbag Al at the bottom of the screen.
Yep, that's all it's going to say. And then people throughout the whole show, why does it say that?
Yeah, there won't even be like, we're not even going to put like a comment of the stream header at the top. It's just going to be that by itself.
Just a quote. Oh, that's a really good quote, Kev.
This one's from Blue Dragon 5 and it's kind of fun, and I can answer this one. This will not happen. He says, Cap, when you get to the Far From Home commentary, will the welder crash it like Venom crashed the Venom commentary? No, he will not. That would be weird, and I don't even know what the welder would say.
The beginning, I mean, it would be weird if the welder suddenly had like a crazy voice because he didn't last time. It was just DJ wearing a welding mask.
Well, I was dressing up as the welder. I guess he
Oh,
assumed this
you
would
were
be the real
being
welder.
He's asking if we will
Cosplay.
invite the welder. I
Yeah,
see.
invite the welder. Well, you see, he was blip. He wasn't blip, so he's 5 years older than me now. So it's really confusing.
He's the one person who has blipped and for some reason still has not come back. I don't know.
Oh, we can't find him.
I don't know what happened there. Jedi Knight, who had a better love life, Marvel Wanda or Spawn Wanda?
Sponda.
The answer is always going to be the not Spawn thing, although in this case, I don't think that makes sense. I think it actually is the other thing this time. I think it may actually be Spawn Wanda. Maybe.
Oh, cool.
No, probably not, because of the miscarriage thing. No, probably not. Okay, anyway, let's move on.
Well, Soul Dragon 007 wants to know, will Cap do his best Jake Gyllenhaal impression?
If the spirit moves me. I don't know that I have one, but...
Stephen Murphy says the welder is stuck in Westview.
Oh, no. Wait, what would that even look like? Like, I feel like everybody would just keep asking him why he has a welding mask on, and then...
He'd just be like the beekeeper guy.
Yeah, or if he was in Westview and he was actually part of the show, he'd be the guy like from what's that show? Home Improvement.
Yeah, I was gonna say the '90s episode. He could be over the instead of the fence. It's just
he's wearing a welding mask, so you never see his face. And the gag is you have no idea what that actor looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Howdy ho, neighbor.
Except you also can't understand anything he says.
It's all
every time he's talking, he's like, but then everybody knows what he's talking about, sort of like they're talking to like Jabba the Hutt or something.
Yeah, it's like the teacher from Charlie Brown.
Yeah. I'm seeing some names in the live chat tonight that I haven't seen in a long time. Welcome, everybody. It's really cool to have you guys here.
Really cool. And throw us some questions, too, because most of my pre-writtens are from Mutali and Blue Dragon 5, so feel free to throw me some stuff.
Well, if we are we done with Super Chats?
We are done with Super Chat.
Okay, let's do another like 5 minutes of pre-written, and I'll just say last call right now for Super Chat. So if anybody else wants to throw one in, we can keep the show going longer, or if we don't see any more, we'll just go 5 more minutes and call it a night.
All right. Mutali wants to know, who would make a better Doctor Strange film, Sam Raimi or Guillermo del Toro?
Wow. Boy, that's like neck and neck to me. I think those are both really good ideas. I think they make very different kinds of films, of course. Wow, because I mean, those that seems in the wheelhouse of both of those guys. They both like to deal with occult things and potentially, fantastic magical type stuff. Where do you land on that? Like, I
mean, it's like 100% zero for me. Like, I would love Del Toro to do a Doctor Strange movie. That'd be amazing. And I don't like any of Sam Raimi stuff, so it's easy for me. But I know it's harder for you.
I'm leaning toward Del Toro. Well, I'm not a giant Raimi fan or anything, but with his strengths, that it seems like he's going to be good at that.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to say Del Toro over that. Like, if I had to pick between them, I think it is Del Toro. But I do want to be excited about the Sam Raimi thing, certainly.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But now you got me excited about Del Toro, Mutali. Thanks for that. Spoiled my expectations.
That's a really good question. I like that a lot.
Let me jump over to get one more. Did anyone ask anything in the chat? They're talking about Del Toro now.
Yep.
Okay. So
well,
this is
everybody.
This is just something you brought up recently on one of your videos. Blue Dragon 5. Cap, if there was another Amalgam crossover featuring the TMNT and Marvel, which X-Men characters would best combine with the Turtles, Splinter, and Shredder? So you brought this up on the Batman vs. TMNT video that I watched, right? I think that's where I heard it.
I did. So I've told this story before, but in the early 2000s, I was really heavily involved in email role-playing, which was basically writing prose pieces with other people in kind of a game scenario, but it was more like writing a fiction together where everybody plays as a character or a couple of characters, and there are NPCs that everybody can use and make, do whatever they want them to, but your characters are yours alone, and the only thing you really can't do is, like, kill people that you haven't already talked to the other guys about whether or not they're going to die, or be in like a horrible coma or accident where they can't do anything for a while. And we did a really cool one where I played in a lot of Smallville games, and I played Lex a lot, and games would start like asking me to come in and play Lex because apparently people had a hard time finding people that could write that character, and I guess people liked mine. So I played in like 4 or 5 Smallville games as Lex at once at one point, which was ridiculous because DJ had to keep track of like the story points and the motivations and what each of my Lexes was doing at different points, and that was crazy. But we did one really cool one that was an amalgam game where we made up our own amalgam, and one of the things I did there, my favorite was Professor Lex, where I took Professor Xavier and Lex Luthor, and I had Professor Lex running the Lexmen. That was my favorite. But we also did the Ninja Turtles cross for the Fantastic Four. And I talked about that in the rewind, where I said that I've always wanted to see that. But yeah.
Did you just cross them because they're bald?
No, I crossed them because there's 4 of them.
No, I was talking about the Xavier and the
Oh,
Lex.
yes, of course, just because they're bald. Yes, of course, it's great. And the Lexmen is right there. It's right there.
It's right there.
X-Men to Ninja Turtles. Help me out. What do you think? So the obvious.
I'll read some from the chat if you want to hear that. People are chiming in like crazy on this one.
Say that again.
People are chiming in on the chat like crazy. I'll read some of these for you. Solar Dragon, Wolverine, and Raph.
Yeah, that's good. I was going to say Cyclops and Leonardo because it's obvious. Like that's the leader guy. So
yeah,
you probably have to have that
leader.
Yeah.
OA Entertainment says Shredder and Wolverine. Solar Dragon says Spider-Man and Donnie.
I would.
Yeah,
I think Shredder you put with Silver Samurai.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Unless it has to be squarely X-Men. I figured the villains you'd want X-Men villains. But if you want X-Men also as villains, then we can do that as well. I guess Wolverine to Shredder makes sense there. But if we're picking X-Men villains, I'd say Silver Samurai is Shredder, and then you said Splinter. Yeah, I don't right off know who that would be. Like I guess Professor X is the obvious.
Professor X, yeah, I guess have to be. Jedi Knight says Shredder and Ra's al Ghul, which is a completely different question, but yeah.
Krang and Mojo.
Yeah, that's perfect. Or just Krang with Mojo. Just put Krang on Mojo's stomach.
Donatello is Beast, pretty clearly.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then who do we have left? Oh, good. And then Michelangelo, you need a really jokey guy. The off the beaten path answer is Morph, but nobody's going to care about that.
Morph! I love Morph.
Yeah.
Cine Graphics says Gambit and Casey Jones. That's cool.
That's good. I like that a lot. Yeah. I guess the obvious, the most obvious like comic relief character, at least in the '90s, was Jubilee. So you could have a female turtle and do like a Michelangelo Jubilee thing. I don't love
Joe
that.
Kelly says Mikey as
Nightcrawler. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Especially in X-Men Evolution, that's a very Nightcrawler, Michelangelo kind of fit. Who would be Venus? I'll throw that in there.
I thought of that. Yeah. Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, I mean you could just pick it because Venus was so generic, Chinese wise female character.
I think you Yuriko. I think you pretty much with Venus just have to pick like a younger female X-Man who's not like horribly unwise, right? Like you wouldn't want to say Storm, like she's too old and wise. Like you need a younger person who's still kind of sensible, I guess.
Sinister Stockman, Mutali says.
April and Rogue. A lot of people are saying.
Yeah, that's a perfect fit.
That's good. Jedi Knight Venus and female Thor. Yeah, this is a really good question.
That's fun.
No, I enjoyed that a lot. That was great.
We got our last call for Super Chats from John Ty. He gives one last $5 Super Chat. Say, thoughts on people saying that Mandalorian Season 2 has too much fan service?
Well, that's the risk you take with the ending they put there and some of the other stuff throughout the season. I've not done a full-on review of that yet. I haven't had time to put that together with Dan, so I'm hoping that still happens maybe this month or next month. Sorry it's been so long. I just have not really taken the time to sit down and give that show a whole lot of thought, or at least the ending. I liked it all the way through. I had some reservations about that ending. I don't think fan service is the issue. I think there's a little bit of an execution thing there, maybe. But you're damned if you do and damned if you don't on a thing like this. If you don't have I don't know how much I should avoid spoilers at this point. It's been so long since that came out. I think most everybody's going to know what we're talking about. If you avoid using any big major characters that you would, all things being equal, expect to show up at some point, people are going to go, well, that person is around. Wouldn't they care about this? Isn't this important? Aren't they going to pop in? And when you do it, it's like, oh, of course you had to do that because fan service. So you're going to get that one of those complaints, whichever thing you do. I think execution could potentially be a little bit of an issue. I think the way it's presented could be landed on a little bit too thick. A little bit. Overall, I think I was happy with it, but if we're talking specifically about that scene, the after credits thing, I'm stoked about. I think that whole thing was awesome. Everything about that. If you think that's too much fan service, I understand that. That's fine. I did not have that. I thought that was wonderful.
Real quick on the last question, I have to bring this up because it's amazing and I want it to happen.
Yeah.
John Kelling said, "Mouser Sentinels."
That's the best. Yeah, or you take Sentinels
amazing.
and you cross them with the Krang bodysuit.
Yeah, that kind of looks. Yeah, it looks just like it. Have giant Utroms that go in giant Sentinel Krangs.
Oh, that would be the best. Yeah, yeah, because those basically look like Sentinels, and they grow too. Couldn't you do that? You could have like 6 foot Sentinels that grow into giant Sentinels.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. This is cool. Let's make this happen. I'm welcome. Turtles versus Marvel. Never gonna happen, but we'll start it.
Nope.
We'll start it here.
No, because they're owned by Paramount, and Paramount has their own Plus now.
On the precipice.
No.
We dance.
Oh.
And then they just start dancing. Poor Patrick Stewart.
I feel really bad for him, man.
All right. Well, any more pressing ideas, guys? Oh, I do want to bring this up.
Yeah.
Cinematographic says, Cap, have you ever heard of Samuel Kim Music? I guess it's a channel or something. He says he made an orchestration of the trailer music for Falcon and Winter Soldier that has flourishes of the Avengers theme, which sounds awesome.
What's the name of the channel again?
I don't know if it's a channel, but he just said, have you heard of Samuel Kim Music? Samuel Kim Music.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's a channel.
That is a channel. Let's pull that up and listen to it as the lead-out music. Why not?
Sure.
I hope he doesn't mind. He's going to flag me.
Samuel Kim shuts us down. Channel deleted. Thanks a lot, Cinematographic.
I'm not immediately seeing that on his channel, though.
Oh.
So maybe we won't be able to do that. Oh, wait. Oh, no, he did it like a month ago. Okay. Cool. All right, well, I'll start playing this, and we can go ahead and finish the show out here. Everybody, thanks a lot for listening. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to maybe skip ahead in the middle of this and just see what this sounds like. Well, guys, I hope you had a good time with us this evening. We certainly did. Another eclectic assortment of questions and stuff to talk about. Oh, yeah, that's cool. That's really neat. DJ just nodded his mouth, but they like it's cool. It's you can hear. Anyway, yeah, you guys almost broke me tonight. There's so many. I had to keep like adjusting and jumping to different places and stuff. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a good challenge. I appreciate it. Thursday night we're gonna do a rapid fire show. We're gonna raise some money so that kids in hospitals can read comics. So help us do that if you're so inclined. And even if not, just come and hang out and party with us. We'll have a good time. And big 150th show. I'm excited. But probably not the biggest event this week on the channel. Friday night, the premiere for the first part of BBS Rewind. Stop in and chat with me. I'll be in the comments there. It won't be as long as the last couple. It'll only be 42 minutes. But don't worry, because it'll be longer after that. In the meantime, I was Captain Logan. This was DJ Martinez. We'll see you next time, guys.